What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be your review of Love. Excuse me, nope. No Love and Hip Hop. Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 12, episode 18. So I know you guys heard that the reunion, I believe, is being postponed. We'll see. We'll see how that works out. Kenya posted on her Instagram that she's got all these receipts, honey. But whatever. Let's just go on and jump into this episode. So we start the episode. It's the next day after that whole fiasco conversation with Kenya, Nene, and all of that. The ladies are up. Everybody's kind of doing their own thing. Some people eating breakfast. Some people down on the beach taking pictures. We saw a few shots every morning that they showed them there. They showed Portia with Pilar, and I thought that was just the cutest thing, the sweetest thing, that, you know, even though Portia, Portia and the mom and the baby are staying separately, Portia was with her baby every morning. I thought that was or every day, I should say, because can't say that footage was from the morning. So they're on their way out for the day. They're going, the first place they're going is to a restaurant that's up in the sky. Now, when they said up in the sky, I was picturing one of those, restaurants like on top of the Space Needle or the Eiffel Tower or whatever, an indoor restaurant. And we know that Nene does not like heights, so they didn't tell Nene because they didn't want Nene to get all extra and say she wasn't going to go. They sort of, I'm going to say they tricked her, but they didn't trick her. They tricked her into going there, but she didn't have to get on it. She was being a good sport. To Nene's credit, she was being a good sport. Because let me be clear. That was a crane. They were eating on top of, it was outdoors. It was raining. They were outdoors. And like literally, they were sitting on this bench. Like you could look down. I was like, what if somebody got to go to the bathroom? Because see, that would have been me. I would have had to go to the bathroom like halfway through. And then it would have been like, y'all know what I'm saying? On the way there, Candy told them to hold a date for her baby shower. She's having a baby shower for the surrogate. And she said that she's going to stay in touch with the surrogate. She said, everybody has a different idea or suggestion as to what she should do with her surrogate. She said, but she actually likes her surrogate. They've been getting along, and she wants to keep in touch. She said that that what this woman has done for her and her family, she could never repay. And so, she doesn't have a problem staying in touch with the woman. And I'm sure that Candy and her lawyers created an airtight legal document, so I'm sure she's not worried about anything like that. They also said, Cynthia also said something about, her and Be Chill maybe wanting to have some more kids. I mean, Janet did it, so I mean, I ain't gonna sit here and say what can't happen, but I'm just gonna say, Cynthia, go sit down somewhere. So they're having lunch, and listen, the ladies were having a great time, even with a little bit of shade thrown in here and there. Overall, they were having a good time. So Kenya decides to ask about the wine pairings. And then she proceeds to basically embarrass Cynthia. Now, let's be clear, y'all. I don't think nobody was fooled into thinking that Cynthia went to some crash course on wines and wine pairings and what wine goes better with this and this type of wine and that type of wine. She probably did a few little tastings here and there. She probably did enough to be able to, but nobody thought that she went and got any type of extended, I wouldn't see her going and getting like a 6-month lesson wine. Like, we know that. But your friend is the person putting you on the spot and making it obvious to not just the people on. See, this is what people have to understand about stuff like this. This isn't just about the show. Kenya knows very well that this situation is going to be shown. It is a show. Because did y'all notice how many people came up to them? There was a scene where somebody came, Marlo was taking a picture with somebody when they went to the wine testing. The guy that did the whole wine testing with them was like, can I get a picture with you guys? Let's be clear, these people know who they are. This show isn't just shown in somebody, locally in Atlanta. They knew who these people were in Greece. And you are, not only are you embarrassing her, but this is a business that she has decided to go into. Now, again, nobody is fooled into thinking that Cynthia knows all of this stuff, but you don't have to make it so obvious. And if that had been Marlo, honey, I would have been like, that damn Marlo. If it had been even Nene, but that's supposed to be your road dog. That's supposed to be your ace. And Kenya, you just kept going and kept going and kept going. And everybody at the table thought it was inappropriate. And then when the producers are going to ask you about it and compare that to the whole wine thing and how you're mad at Tanya because you feel like Tanya questioned could have put your company in jeopardy, your brand in jeopardy. You're going to say that's not the same thing because you are the CEO of your company and everybody knows that Cynthia is not it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And that was really rude. It was just rude. So after they left there, they went shopping and people were sort of talking about it. Tanya and Portia actually went and got these little bracelets that's supposed to ward off evil spirits. Honey, they done bought one for themselves and they done messed around and bought Cynthia one for Kenya, child. They went like an open market, honey. They'd have found an open market with dildos and stuff. They taking pictures with the ruins. They breaking the rules. They about to get arrested because they walking around there touching stuff they ain't supposed to be touching. Kenya getting all mad, talking about some act like you've been somewhere before. It was a mess. Not a mess, but in a good way. Not a mess like They were having fun. You know what I mean? They were having a good time. They were having fun, and they were actually really getting along. And then they end up going to a restaurant that did the whole plate smashing thing. That's a tradition in Greece. And it's supposed to the smashing of the plate is supposed to release whatever it is. And so as they were smashing the plate, they said what they were most passionate about, and of course they said the things that you would expect them to say: my family, my kids, my happiness, blah 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 blah. And Cynthia was having herself a good time. She said that it felt good for her to dance around and just let some steam off of everything she had going on. She just wanted to let that steam out, and it was great. So then the next day, so they go home that night. I'm skipping to the next day. They go home that night, and Tanya and Portia go and have a conversation with Cynthia. And you know what? Again, I appreciate the conversation because they went to her, and I don't feel like it was out of any pettiness. I don't feel like it was out of any, I'm trying to be shady. But they were like, look, we didn't appreciate what Kenya did to you today. And there's one thing for things to be shady and for you to laugh and joke about stuff, but when she kept going is when it was sort of like the line was crossed. See, to make a joke about the wine tasting and pairing, that was cool, it was funny. But when she kept going and kept going and kept going and pushing Cynthia, and every time Cynthia said something wrong, you calling her out about it, like, that's when it went too far. And Portia and Tanya, that's what they were saying, like, look, this is where she crossed the line. And if she's supposed to be your friend, we're just coming to you to say that's not cool. And you might want to talk to your friend about that. Like, that just wasn't cool what she did. And then they gave her the bracelet, honey, that's supposed to ward off the evil spirits, child. And Cynthia in her confessional making an excuse. Well, she's going through a lot. And I get her sense of humor. But then she went through all that and then at the end said, but when she go too far, I will have to check her. She did go too far. You need to check her. Like, you mean if she go too far? She went too far. She did too much. Anyway, child. So it's the next day, honey. And this time, this day they went on, they went to a wine taste. They went to a vineyard and they went on a wine tasting. And again, having a good time. On their way to the vineyard, they got to talking about marriage and relationships, and they deferred to Nene. And I feel like that this might have been a more organic way to do what Cynthia was trying to do that first night with Kenya, even though Kenya was paying no, well, at least outwardly was paying no attention. She's on her phone, she's preoccupied, she's not listening. But I feel like they were having an honest conversation about relationships, and Nene was really, telling them, look, I've been there and done that. Whatever you've been through with your man, me and Greg done been there twice, and she even talked about the infidelity. She said, look, I done messed around, Greg done messed around, but at the end of the day, she said, a man can cheat on you and still love you. Now, some people might disagree with that, but I understand what Nene is saying. She was like, a man can make a mistake, and that doesn't mean he doesn't love his wife. That doesn't mean he doesn't love his family. And you have to figure out, it's your decision, and you have to figure out the path back, the best path back, And I feel like she was throwing that at Portia, not in a bad way, but kind of throwing that advice to Portia. So while they're at the vineyard, they had a good time again. They're tasting the wine, and Kenya ends up buying a whole thing of wine for Cynthia to take back. And Cynthia was like, "Oh, maybe this bracelet is working." I said, "No, her ass. She was still throwing shade at your ass. She was still throwing shade." Anyway, but Portia and Nene have a conversation, and Portia says, "Look, me and you got into it, and yeah, I went public because I was hurt." She said, I was going through postpartum. You hit me where it hurts. I was dealing with, breastfeeding and having a baby. And I didn't hear her specifically say anything about the weight, but I've heard her say in other areas that the fat comments hurt her, because she said Nene knew I was struggling with losing the baby weight. And so she hit me where she knew it was going to hurt. And so, but they talked, they cried, they hugged, they said, look, let's move forward. Whatever happened. I still love you and I missed you. And they had a moment. They had a genuine moment. And Portia told her, she said, it's been so hard trying to do this without you. And I'm sure she was referring back to the situation with Dennis. But she said, it's been so hard. And I felt that. I ain't lying. When Portia said that thing, I felt that. And something Nene said, when I was going through what I was going through with Greg, it was almost like, and she didn't say this is how I received what she said. It was almost like Nene was testing her friends. Because she said, I felt like I was alone, and I needed to see who was still going to be there for me. And so it was almost like she was testing people, like, how nasty can I be? How rude can I be? Who is still going to be there for me? Who's still going to be in my corner? Who's still going to have my back? Like, I really feel like that's sort of, I kind of feel like that's how I received what she said, I don't know. But again, I understood where Nene was coming from last year. I think everybody understood Nene's anger was misplaced and her nastiness was misplaced. I do. I think, but there's a point where people can't excuse it. Like, I can understand it, but I can't excuse it. You know what I'm saying? And that situation in the closet, that I can't excuse that. And especially since you want to act like we didn't see what we saw. You're going to sit here and play in my face and be like, nah, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't do that. They got it on tape. You did it. Anyway. But it was a moment, and I thought it was a good moment. So now Portia's feeling good. She got the weight lifted off her shoulder. And now her thing is, I think we should figure out a way to bring everybody back together. So now her and Tanya then came up with this idea to do it like a, what they call it, throwing it in the ruins. Basically, it's just another version of get it all out, say what you have to say, and let's leave it here. They do it at every trip. Every trip they go on, they have this moment of, we're going to just put it on the table, and we're going to leave it here. When we get on the plane, Married to Medicine, they threw it in the ocean. Like, everybody has their version of this. So this was the throwing it in the ruins. And for the most part, it wouldn't have gone so deep if Nene hadn't been drunk. Nene took that to the next level. Cynthia addressed Kenya and the situation with the wine. Kenya apologized. Kenya said, I would never do anything to try to embarrass you. It was in jest. I was joking. But if I went too far, I'm sorry. Cynthia accepted her apology and they moved on. Nene did not like that. Nene's thing was, if that had been me, Cynthia wouldn't have been so quick to accept my apology. And you know, Nene, you might be right. You might be right. You may have a valid point. And from there, baby shark, do. It escalated quickly. Nene started calling Kenya all kinds of bitches, and you ain't this, and you ain't that, and you shut the hell up this. And Kenya was like, what are you talking about? Like, now we bitches? Now, Kenya, you can stop acting so indignant because you called Tanya a whole you know what. And her and Tanya had a moment, and she gonna tell Tanya, well, I don't feel like you ever apologized to me. I don't feel like you ever made a sincere apology to me. Tanya said, well, you talking about ruining brands and stuff like that. You created a whole situation where you tried to ruin Paul's reputation. Like, you did the same thing to Paul that you accused me of doing to you. And Kenya didn't even address it. Kenya went left. She came back to, well, you never apologized to me for what you did. I mean, you just never apologized to me. Why? Because she told everybody you wear a wig. Kenya, I hate to be the one to tell you, but everybody knew that. Who didn't know Kenya wear a wig? Anyway, it escalated, honey. It got to the point where everybody was telling Nene, everybody was trying to hold Nene back. Even Marlo was like, Nene, stop. They trying to cover Nene's mouth. Because Nene is, I mean, her mouth is leaked. Like, she was saying some stuff that even I was like, oh, Nene, like, where is that coming from? But baby, she went, it went whoop, 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 whoop. And they stopped before they showed us the footage of Nene spitting on Kenya, but you saw Nene throwing stuff at Kenya. I mean, Nene was acting, I don't know where all that was coming from, because Nene was acting real elementary. I mean, she's throwing stuff at the woman, calling the woman names and stuff, but I really think at the end of the day, it boils down to she was upset because she really felt like Cynthia is too nice to Kenya, and she even made a comment at some point about her and Cynthia being friends longer than her and Kenya were friends. And she just feels like that Cynthia gives Kenya a pass that she doesn't give her. But let me say this to you, Nene. That's the same pass that she used to give you. See, you used to get that pass from Cynthia until that first time y'all fell out. And I think after that first time that y'all fell out, Cynthia was like, it won't be me again. I feel like Cynthia is one of those people that gives until you throw it back in her face. And then once you throw it back in her face, then she's like, okay, I see you now. And we can be cool again, and we can make up, but you will never get that Cynthia again. And that's when you get, what she say Cynthia's alter ego is, that's when you get sin. Was it 50 cents? Sin cents? Whatever it is. That's when you get her. And I think that's what happened. And Kenya is still getting that first Cynthia. Now, when Kenya go too far and take it too far, and Cent gotta come out and give it to, then Kenya gonna get that version. But that's what it is, Nene. You had that Cynthia. When everybody used to say that she was your doormat and your puppet, you had that Cynthia. But you played around with that Cynthia. And you pushed her too far, and she couldn't do it with you no more. That's all that is. Anyway, we'll see where it picks up next week, child. Is next week the end? Is it the finale? Anyway, talk to y'all later. Peace.